Non-profit youth organization Love Life says it is concerned about the sharp rise in sexual misconduct cases amongst educators. This follows the reply given by the Minister of Basic Education, Angie, in Parliament when she was asked about the cases of sexual misconduct laid against educators. The Minister said sexual misconduct cases had risen from 92 in the 2019-2020 financial year to 169 in 2020-2021 financial year and 191 in the 2021-2022 financial year. Well, we now speak to Love Life CEO, Patrick Kulati. Mr. Kulati, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to The Full View.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngwan. It's good to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure having you join us to discuss these very pertinent issues. I mean, harrowing figures, very, very alarming figures. What's your thoughts?
Man, it's a very, very serious problem. Over the last 3 years, as you had said now, the numbers of these violations of children that have been violated in our schools have gone up for the last 3 years. And the problem is that we have a great awareness about what the problem is. We have done tremendous amount of analysis. What is missing now is action and accountability.
Yes.
So it is within that sphere where we decide, where we take action, disciplinary action against people that are supposed to be doing this thing and hold them to account. So what we have seen now, if you look at the numbers that you mentioned, out of that 191 last year, there are 4 of them that were dismissed by the South African Council for Educators. So the question is, what happened there? You know, why is it that only 4 has been dismissed? 21 had been held to account, yet we have this big number. So what we are saying is that there needs to be much more visible and tangible action taken in order to hold people to account, so that the rest of the society and the rest of everyone who is involved in the system understands that we as a people, we as a society, do not tolerate this kind of thing, where adult people, both within our schooling system and even outside, are abusing young girls such that they fall pregnant. This is our biggest problem. It's a pandemic.
It is a pandemic. It certainly is a pandemic. And you've been quoted as having said that educators take advantage of learners, knowing very well that no action will be taken against them. I mean, is this the reality that we have to grapple with? The fact that these educators deliberately and intentionally abuse young girls, knowing that there's no action. Is it what we're going through here in South Africa?
Exactly. This is coming from the Council of Educators in South Africa, saying that some of the people that are behind this scourge are educators, as well as what we call blessers. These are adult people, influential people in society that are targeting young girls. And the World Health Organization has actually said that this problem all over the world targets the most poor people. And so what you find is that there are health implications on the child who gets pregnant in terms of during the time of pregnancy, during childbirth, and there are developmental problems for them. For example, they are forced to get out of the school.
Yeah.
They might get another pregnancy. They might be targeted and abused further when they are out of school. And so this is a cycle that's happening. So what we are saying is that we cannot have a situation where adult people who are supposed to be providing safety, security and care for our children are the very ones who are taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
This is where we're saying we acknowledge the numbers that have been given, we acknowledge what is being done, but what we are saying, it is not enough effort to being put on holding people to account on a sustainable basis.
More especially because, you know, young girls are, well, ostensibly abused in a space that they call a safe space.
Exactly.
I mean, the school environment is a safe space for them in as much as the home is a safe space for them. And, you know, sexual misconduct is a criminal act and should be categorized as such.
Yes.
So do you think that this needs to be dealt with at a criminal level, or within the purview of the Employment of Educators Act, which grants the department, of course, the rights to penalize or maybe to take action against educators?
Look, there are a number of instruments that are available to the state. For example, children that are under the age of 12 cannot consent to sexual intercourse, let alone with an adult person.
Yeah.
So when that happens, when that law has been broken, that means that a criminal act has happened there, and therefore that needs to be the law must be applied to that kind of setup. But there are situations where, you know, there are other instruments within the Department of Education which, you know, which deals with human resources, where they hold their staff accountable. So everything that is allowable by law and by policies needs to be put to bear, so that at the end of it all, but also it is not just the state system, the community, because these things happen not just in the school. The school is just one microcosm where these things are happening. But if you look at our communities, we tolerate these things. Sometimes we clap hands when we see these old men driving in nice cars with these young girls. So that has to be, we have to put a stop to that, so that the whole society understands, and our young girls understand that as a society we care about their future. And this is what Love Life is trying to do, is to say, our young people, especially young girls, have to be given all the opportunities, have to be given all the support that they need, so that they can thrive in all aspects of their lives.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Kulati, earlier on I chatted to Dr. Nechama Brody, who is the head of the Wits Justice Project, who said that the justice system here in South Africa does not protect the girl child, in particular women in general. So in instances where an abuser is let go due to lack of evidence, yet we see a victim here. I mean, there is a victim here. I mean, where is the evidence supposed to come? Of course, we need to respect the law, but in some instances, the law just doesn't have enough teeth.
It's a bit of a difficult situation. To be a woman in the world, especially in South Africa, it's difficult. I was watching something where they were saying that some women have to pay more, even for public transport, so that they can escape certain places. So what is happening is that we need, you need investigators, police investigations. At the beginning, they need to come involved and collect the data, collect the thing, so that when children and people come to the police station to report, they don't chase them away. They don't say to them, go and get the parents to deal with this matter. No, that is not supposed to be happening like that when something like this happens. So unfortunately, then that is where the breakdown happens. So when you now take matter up the justice system, they have to have evidence that this thing has been done. So police have got to collect, but our court system must frown upon this thing, and they must make examples of perpetrators.
So much has been said. So many campaigns have been run about gender-based violence in South Africa, yet it goes on unabated. So what should be the role of civic organizations like yours to ensure that the gospel of non-gender-based violence is preached and spread all over the country?
I must thank the media and SABC for this, because this is part of raising awareness. But we also need to partner across all these organizations. We need to partner with everyone, the corporate world, the government, so that we can work hard. It's one thing to have a campaign once a year or a couple of times a year. There has to be a concerted effort right from the home, because these things happen in our homes. They happen in our communities. That is where a lot of work has to happen, because what you see happening later on is, as a consequence, it's at the end of the line. So there has to be a change of behavior where we look at children and young girls and young boys as agents of change. These are human beings with rights, and they must be protected so that they can be better people, not that we target them so that we can get a sexual favor or this or that.
Right. Mr. Kulati, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that was Love Life CEO Patrick Kulati just commenting on, Love Life being deeply concerned about the sharp rise in sexual misconduct cases by educators.